Hello friends, it's day 20 and on day 20 I'm talking about Christmas dinner food prep. Now you don't have to rush around on Christmas Day or even Christmas Eve getting everything done and ready, and then you're finding you're not spending any time with your kids or your family or your partner because you're in the kitchen the whole time. Now that's pretty much been my life for the last 20 years. However, for the last year or so, a little bit 2 years ago, but mainly last year, I decided to start doing a lot of the food prep. And this year, I've massively gone in on that really hard. So I've bought less from the supermarket. So that means spending less time at the supermarket, always bonus, especially at Christmas. And I know that I'm producing things on my tables for Christmas Day and Boxing Day. Boxing Day is a spread of food with cold meats and jacket potatoes and cheeses and all those kind of things in my home. Then on Christmas Day you've got your whole shebang of your Christmas dinner, all your puddings, and we don't do starters because Christmas dinner is so big that we would never eat it all, and I don't want to waste the beautiful Christmas dinner that you get once a year, and you can get a starter any time of the year. So a few essentials that you need to get organised. Make sure all your containers are full up. So make sure you've got plenty of salt and pepper because you'll be using that throughout your cooking process, and you don't want to then have to be stopping to fill up containers that are nearly empty like this. So I'm going to get on that one and make sure that I've got some salt, I've got plenty of pepper. If you're using oils and things like that during your cooking, make sure your container again is full up. So I've just filled mine up with olive oil so I can just grab this whenever I need to spray or pour, and I've got no other worries. So these are the things that I will be using to cook with. I'd show you my maple syrup, which I also use to cook with, but this one's nearly empty. Costco's in a couple of days, so I'll have a new one of those for cooking with. I love to use maple syrup in my food. Regards to all the vegetables, if you are out there grabbing all of those cheap vegetables like I did this morning, nice and early this morning, husband had to get off to work, so we went to Lidl and Aldi because I specifically wanted the shallots, which I will insert a photo as soon as I've shown you the vegetables. And I wanted to get cracking today with all of the veg prep. So I picked up 4 bags of carrots. As you know, mine weren't successful this year. I've got a very small bag of carrots for my little boy for his plate, and I'll probably have a couple on my plate as well that I did manage to grow, but they're already in the freezer and prepped. What I will do with the carrots is I will use, for anyone who hasn't seen my hack, let me show you. These are really wet because I've been on these already this morning. Grab yourself some of the gloves that you use to exfoliate yourself in the shower, and then pop your vegetable under the tap with cold running water. I always add a little bit of warm to mine so my hands don't freeze off. Then rub, that's really bad. I've really got to stop doing that. Rub up and down on your vegetables so you don't have to peel them. That saves you a mountain of time. It really does. Whether it's shop bought or homegrown, rub off those vegetables because the slight markings on them there, that will take off any dirt and any loose bits and pieces. Don't waste your peelings by getting rid of them. I know they can go in the compost, but they are much better in your belly. So top tip for anyone who didn't see one of my videos. So yeah, so with my carrots, 4 bags of carrots, half a bag of carrots is going to go to the guinea pig over the Christmas period, and I will use my gloves on these carrots. I will top and tail them. The top and tail will then go into the container if the dog doesn't eat the carrot first. I will use 2 bags to slice down the middle, pop into a foil tray, and I will pop some maple syrup, some salt and pepper on one tray, and I will roast those on Christmas Day. I will use 1 bag to parboil, and they will be sliced into circles and they will go in the freezer for New Year's Day when I will be doing my next roast after Christmas Day. And the other bag I will slice the carrots and I will just be boiling them plain because my little boy likes carrots plain, but just in case he has a little bit of a meltdown because of the whole vegetable thing, I have also prepped this, a tin of carrots, his favourite carrots, just a tin. So depending on his mood on the day, depending if he's hyper, depending on if he's feeling really low, depending of how sensitive he is or how high his sensitivity is, if he can't manage the normal carrots, I will have these to hand to spare. So things like that. So if you know you've got fussy eaters, if you know you've got people with food allergies, prep that stuff first. Always get that ready and sorted. Always have an alternative, because you never know, especially if you're having guests over that you've not had before. Always check for allergies. Always check to see what people eat and what people don't eat. Don't just expect them to eat everything you're going to shove on the plate, because guaranteed they won't, especially if it's sprouts. Anywho, so I picked up 2 large white cabbage. Not my favourite at all. Not my favourite at all. I like a nice Savoy or a sweetheart cabbage. My husband's favourite, and my kids don't mind it either. So I picked up 2 of these. I will pre-shred all of this, and then I will blanch it for literally 30 seconds in boiling water. Take it out, run it under the cold tap. I'm not pissballsing around with ice and all that kind of shit. Who's got room in their freezer for bags of ice this time of year? Not me, that's for sure. And then I will literally just put salt and pepper on this, shove it in a bag and shove it in the freezer. So when it comes to Christmas Day, all the food cutting is done for these. And I've just got to literally, I will put them in the Ninja and I will pressure cook this for 6 minutes and cabbage is done. That's it. No boiling it for 20 minutes and all that kind of malarkey that people do. So that's what I've done with the cabbages. And then good old spuds. As you know, I grew my own. I haven't got enough, my husband thinks, for the whole day, and especially New Year's Day as well. So I'm going to prep, I've got 4 of these, 2 bags of these, 1.5 for New Year's Day. I'm going to do 1.5 for Christmas Day, because my husband always on Boxing Day, he doesn't have the same as me and the kids. He likes another Christmas dinner, especially when he's working, which he is, so he's going to miss out on the spread. And then I will roast these. So what I will do for food prep for these, this is time consuming, which is why I do it now. So what I do is I get my children to peel the potatoes. They got to do something, right? I can't do everything for Christmas. So the children will peel the potatoes. Then I will parboil them for 15 to 20 minutes. Not on the highest heat, just a little bit lower than that. Add plenty of salt to your water. That is one thing I will say, add plenty of salt. Then I will drain them. And as they start to cool, I will fluff them up. Once they are fluffed, I will put them on one of these. Just a general... Oh, it makes a noise. So just a general chopping board. I will lay them flat on here. I will put them in the freezer as they are. Once they are frozen, I will then bring them back in, because my freezer's in the garage. So, or just go to the freezer if you've got one in your kitchen. Normal people have big kitchens. Mine's the smallest ever. So what I will do is, once they are frozen, I will bring them in and I will put some duck fat all over them. So I will literally dip each potato in duck fat, and then I will pop them back on the same tray, put them out to freeze for an hour, bring them back in, and then I will put them in the foil tray I am roasting them in. So I never add my potatoes to my turkey, because I find that turkeys just give off too much liquid, and it's not the good kind of liquid. It makes your potatoes mashy. So to save on dishes, I get a silver foil container, and that is what I will be roasting my spuds in. So I use duck fat. Now, most people use goose fat for Christmas. I prefer duck fat. I think it has more flavour, and I think it crisps the potatoes up better than goose fat. Again, I think goose fat, it's got a very distinctive taste to it, and I much prefer duck fat. And I think goose fat is more expensive around this time of year than what duck fat is anyway. But I can guarantee you, as long as you fluffed your potatoes up, your potatoes, you've never tasted anything like it. They are amazing. They are absolutely amazing. You don't need nothing else, no other fluff, no faff, no nothing else. Just duck fat on your potatoes. Make sure you freeze them first before you put this on. Otherwise, this will just run straight off the potato. So freeze them first and then pop this on. Things like pigs in blankets and all that kind of stuff, you can pre-make those, pre-roll them, whack them in the freezer. They are ready to go. I've got a swede. Oh, talking about swedes, I've got a swede. We don't normally have swede on Christmas Day. However, most of us like swede. So we're thinking, why do we not have swede? We don't have mash. So we're thinking this could be like the mash element of our Christmas dinner. So I have got some swedes that I've already grown at the allotment. And I bought 2 swedes, just 2 today. So I will peel these. No rubbing with the gloves on these. These will get peeled and topped and tailed, because you don't want to eat the really hard bit that's been out in the open. And I will cube them, and then I will put them in the pressure cooker. And then once they are soft, I will pre-mash them, lay them flat. I will grab some butter. So it doesn't matter if you use salted or unsalted, because you're going to add salt to it anyway. It's vegetables, who doesn't? And then pop that into a resealable bag with the mashed up swede. And again, all you need to do then is either stick it in a saucepan or whack it in a microwave. The butter will melt into it. You will add salt and pepper to taste. And trust me, that is a massive time saver on Christmas Day. Parsnips, glorious parsnips. I've already done my food prep for them today. And what I've done with the parsnips is that I've separated them into two. So I've got 4 bags, because you don't get a lot in a bag of parsnips. I didn't grow them, so they are shop bought. And I've used half with one flavour, half with another. So I've got half of them with honey and half of them with maple syrup. And the ones with honey, I've gone into the garden and picked some rosemary. So I've got I've got runny honey, and I have got rosemary for Christmas Day for the parsnip. So again, I used my gloves on the parsnip, topped and tailed, sliced them in half. And what I did is I separated my parsnips into 2 piles. So they were all around the same size, because you don't want small ones in with fat ones. So I put the smaller ones for New Year's and the fatter ones for Christmas Day. And that way I can make sure they're all being cooked absolutely perfectly. And on top of that, because I'm using them all within the next week in a tiny bit, I haven't parboiled my parsnips because I'm going to be using them too soon. So if I thought they were going to be out in the freezer for a really long time, I would parboil them first, literally for 2 minutes before I put them out there. Because I know I'm going to be using them very, very soon. And also because when cutting them, I could tell that they weren't woody. I know that they will be fine because they were lovely and soft to go in the bags in the first place. So that is my parsnip prep. I will pop a picture on the screen right now of the parsnip prep that I did this morning. Okay, so the next thing is you can pre-prep your gravy. I am doing that today. So what I have done is I've got 2 chickens. I have got all the stuff you would normally use to make your own vegetable stock. So carrots, garlic, celery, onion, and I've spread that with salt, pepper and bouillon. So let me show you that one. So for anyone who doesn't know what it is, this is great. This is great for getting that extra flavour out of your chicken. So if you roast your chicken, I wouldn't use this. But because I slow cook my chicken on high for 4 hours, this just helps give it that extra flavour because I'm not roasting the chickens first. If you want to, get a big pan, then sear off your chickens before you put them in the slow cooker. Then essentially that would be doing the job of this. I haven't got time for that. So I've literally shoved them in, pop this over the top, then I've added 50 millilitres of water to the pan just to give me that extra bit of stock. And then what I'll do is when it's finished, I will leave the chickens in there to carry on dripping. I will then take the chickens out, then I will take all the vegetables out, put them to one side, and then with that stock I will stick it into a Tupperware container and pop it in the fridge, and I will already have a great start to my homemade gravy on Christmas Day. And then with that chicken tonight, I am making potato curry tonight with some of the potatoes I bought today from the shop that's nice and cheap. So I bought those potatoes, and I'll be having some chicken and some mushrooms and just doing a homemade curry tonight to make sure I'm using up anything. And if I got some carrots left over, I'll whack some carrots in the curry and so on and so forth. Whatever I've got left over is getting whacked in that curry tonight. So yeah, so that's the gravy prep. I think that's it for Christmas. Oh no, the cauliflower cheese. So for the cauliflower cheese, what I have done is I get my cheese massive bulk buys in Costco. Then I cut it myself, and then I stick it into containers and then whack it in the freezer. So this looks like a lot of cheese. One of these blocks will be used on Boxing Day for anyone who doesn't like fancy cheese. And then the other 2 will be grated by my children. And that will be for my homemade cauliflower cheese that I do every year. Last year I made my cauliflower cheese and I froze it, and then when I baked it, it just wasn't right. So this year I'm not going to do that. So this is the only thing that I'm going to be doing closer to Christmas. Probably Christmas Eve morning is when I will parboil my cauliflowers. I've got 2 bags already parboiled from my allotment that I've grown in the freezer. So those ones are done, but I picked up 2 cauliflowers today. They weren't on offer, but they were nice sized cauliflowers. So they have gone into the fridge. What I will do with them, including the leaves, I will then parboil them like I said. Once that is done, I will then line a big silver foil tray, possibly 2, depending on how much I make. And then I will then make a roux and then add everything to it. So make sure if you are making your own roux this Christmas, grab an extra 4 pinter of milk, because it really takes it to cover all the cauliflower cheese. And then what I will do is cover that cheese sauce all over the cauliflower, and I will literally sprinkle the tiniest bit of smoked paprika over the top of that. And on one of them, I'm also going to sprinkle breadcrumbs on top of that. If I've got some leftover bacon, I will add some crispy bits of bacon to the top of that as well. And then they will stay in the fridge, because they will bake in the oven for 30 to 35 minutes, possibly 40, because I've got a lot going in and out, so the temperature will change quite a lot. And that's my cauliflower cheese done. So it's not really early prep, but to make a roux on Christmas Day, I would be out here for 40 minutes, because it's a large amount that I will be making. So yeah, so that is my food prep for Christmas Day for the cauliflower. I've probably forgotten something that's going to be on the plate. I mean, the turkey's just a turkey. That's just morning prep while breakfast is being made. Okay, so on to Boxing Day. Because we do a spread on Boxing Day, what I will do is I will part bake all of my potatoes. So I will make sure that all of my potatoes, so sweet potatoes and jacket potatoes, in the pressure cooker the day before. So on Christmas Day evening, when it's nice and quiet, I will whack all my potatoes in, and then I will pressure cook them and leave them in there overnight, obviously release the steam. And then the next morning, I will wrap them all in foil, ready to bake. So I don't have to do any of that faff. And then on the table for that spread, I will have lots of different bits and pieces. I will have a gammon that I will prep as well on Christmas Eve, ready for Boxing Day, because I cook a gammon on Boxing Day, nice and fresh. This year I'm going to do a marmalade top for the first time. I've made my own marmalade, so I want to pop that on it, so it's my own little twist on everything. And then also for the table, like I said, I bought all the different cheeses and the crackers and the dips and all that kind of stuff. But the other things we have on the table that you can pre-make. So that is my pickled eggs that I have pre-made. So pickled eggs will go on the table. That is my pickled onions. So the pickled onions will go on the table. And then on Christmas Day, I've made my own cranberry sauce. I've actually made two, one with bits, one without, because I don't like the one without bits. I'm not a fan of the jelly. So that's the cranberry sauce. I have made chili beetroot. So that is the pickled beetroot for Boxing Day. And then on Christmas morning, depending on what you want for breakfast, because everybody likes something different, we normally have bacon and sausage baps in some really nice sourdough bread. But my little boy fluctuates between that and toast. So he's got some lovely homemade strawberry and raspberry jam. This is also really good if you're making your own cheesecake for Christmas Day. Then don't completely set your jam, have it slightly loose, and you can use it as a coulis for the top of your cheesecake, and then it will set on top of your cheesecake, or have it as a drizzle sauce. So yeah, so you can do all of your pickling months in advance. You can make your slow gin, months in advance. There are so many things you can organise yourself with to make in advance for Christmas and change that to how you want. So that is it for number 20. I hope you enjoyed this video of food prepping ready for Christmas Day, Boxing Day, New Year's Eve, New Year's Day, whatever you are celebrating. So I hope you liked my tips and tricks and hints in food prep ideas that I've shown you. If they relate to you, that's fantastic. I hope I can help make the process a lot smoother for you. Now I'm going to let you go, and I will see you on day 21. Okay, so I'll see you tomorrow, guys. Thank you for watching.